Hi, this is Shifu Aaron at Dragon Phoenix Kung Fu in Asheville, North Carolina. Today I'm here to answer the question, what's the difference between Kung Fu and MMA? And so what we can do is we can look a little bit more into what MMA is and how it's evolved and what it stands for. MMA stands for Mixed Martial Arts. And so they're looking for what works. You know, let me pull this from this style, this from this style, this from that style. And so it's evolved and changed as different people have brought in different styles and have found different ways to get the upper edge. So it is more raw fighting. You know, you're in the ring, sometimes in a cage. There's a lot of groundwork usually in that. To be totally honest with you, I don't follow that a whole lot myself. I'm in my mid-40s. I'm beyond prime age for that. You notice that most of those fighters are in their maybe mid-20s to maybe mid-30s because you age out. If you're younger, heads up. As you get older, it's easier to get hurt, takes longer for injuries to heal, so on and so forth. So Kung Fu can be in MMA, and sometimes you see people bringing variations of Kung Fu because there's many different styles of Kung Fu into MMA. Or they might pick little bits and pieces from different Kung Fu styles just to make their own unique signature style of what works for them, maybe their particular personality, body type, etc. A lot of people, when you look at Kung Fu, when we look at a Kung Fu style, the things that create the style, that hold up the style, is you've got your empty hand forms. So that's the katas if you're talking like Japanese style, but sequence of movements that are basically like the instruction book, of physicality. And this is where you're learning the ins and outs of the style and how it moves. Then you've got the weapon work, which is also like weight training and strength training with that, and takes the empty hand work and builds concepts on top of it. And then you've got the two-person work. So every legitimate style has got to have at least those three pillars. And the two-person work is where you pressure test things. There are martial arts styles that are theoretical. They look great. They sound great. You know, you can move slow and cool things happen. But some of those don't stand up to the pressure test. So that's why I call them a theoretical style. And then you've got ones that have been time tested on the battlefield as bodyguards, and the ring, so on and so forth. And so a lot of people who study Kung Fu styles will either study like the pure style to learn the ins and the outs. Interestingly enough, you'll find a lot of pacifists studying martial arts, which that's a whole nother video we can talk about later. And then you've got people who are MMA, usually a little bit of a younger crowd, just like getting rough and throwing down on the mat. So they're not necessarily mutually exclusive of one another. MMA has its typical ring or arena and ways that it's fought, a lot of fighting based, and Kung Fu is going to be a lot more studying, learning the ins and outs, the technical details of things that can then be brought into the fight. And that's part of that pressure test as well too. So hopefully that kind of helps answer a little bit. Feel free to add some questions below, comments, tell me what you think. You may have more insight on this than me. This is, again, I said, I'm not a huge follower of MMA or anything like that. To be honest, tell you a little bit about myself. I train Kung Fu, I teach Kung Fu, I run the school, and then I got my home life as well too, and that keeps me super busy. So I don't really watch much television or movies or follow sports. I'd much rather be playing than getting my hands dirty, having fun with that. So hope that helps, and until next time.